Hello, my name's Mark. I've been doing a lot of work on these chainsaws just lately. I've got here a MS 362, a still. That's this one, which I got not that long ago actually, and did it up, got it working well. It's 59cc in standard form. I've run it for a while. It has got a slight problem with the crank bearings, which I've got some new crank bearings here. I'll strip at some point and change them, but otherwise it's a good unit. Now I have been using these CS580 Chinese Husqvarna clone chainsaws. These are 58cc as opposed to the still MS 362, which is 59cc. It's just 1cc bigger. I think these are absolutely great. Now, I've seen people tuning these up before, and I thought I'd have a go myself. So I started out, I had a look at a few videos of what different people were doing and what have you, and anyway, first thing I did was delete the base gasket on the bore, on the cylinder bore, which lowers the bore, raising the compression, but it also it advances the, well, what you call the port timing, the transfer port timing, just slightly. I've written on the cover here what I actually did to it. I mean, when I took the base gasket off, the combustion chamber clearance changed from 2.1 mil down to 1.53 millimeters. It made a huge difference. I'll just whip this air filter off and show you something else when I've done. I've also I ported this when I took the base gasket off. I did a porting job on it. The transfer ports didn't really need a great deal. They're really good transfer ports on these CS580, these Chinese saws. So the one I mostly concentrated on was the exhaust port, which I widened. You can alter the heights of the exhaust ports, but I don't know enough about them to know how far to go, so I mainly widened the exhaust ports. Otherwise you're going to alter your timing. You could ruin a good engine if you alter the heights of the exhaust port. So I just went for more width and then cleaned it up. And then what I also did was match the exhaust silencer inlet port to the exhaust silencer, if you like, the inlet side of it. I matched that to the port, so they've all been widened, but they match, so there's no restriction there. One thing I can just show you, actually, I've got another CS580 here, which this one is standard. Now I can show you, hopefully, the difference, because they've got a ram stack, I call it. It holds the air cleaner onto the carburetor, and I've trumpeted it out so it acts like a ram stack. And if you can see on this one, if I can get the camera right, There you go. Now, I don't know if you can see inside there, but I've really trumpeted that out and then refitted it, and that's the standard one. Got a torch here actually, might help a little bit. So there's your standard one, and there's the ported one. Quite a big difference. So yeah, I ported the exhaust port, pretty much made a ram stack going into the carburetor. I've got a bigger carburetor. Apparently I think it's a Husqvarna, I think it's a 372. I might be wrong, but it is a 70cc, the Husqvarna. Yeah, the carburetor off that will go on these saws with a slight modification to the to the lever mechanisms. There's videos on YouTube that'll show you that. So she's been ported. The base gasket's been removed, so it's got raised compression. Transfer timing is slightly different. Each stage I ran it, tried it. Each stage I was getting more power out of it. It starts off at 3.4 horsepower, these 58cc CS580s. It's a heck of a lot more now than that. But the other thing I did do as well, if you can see the exhaust at the front, I wanted to build a expansion chamber. So if you can see there, I've actually I've made a sonic cone here. So that's that part there is basically just a cone that I welded onto the front of the silencer. Now originally I relied on the 2 outlet ports only, and I just put a cone there which echoed the fuel back into the exhaust port to slow down the fuel air mixture coming out of the exhaust. Because if you just open up an exhaust on a 2-stroke, all you're going to do is increase the top speed, but what it's going to do then is going to just throw out all of the fuel air mixture, so you'll end up with a wet exhaust. So what you need to do is try and slow down the exhaust speed that it comes out of the port, because it comes out at a sonic speed. And what it does, the tail of it then is dragging the fuel air mixture out, and you're basically just wasting fuel, and obviously you're losing power. So if you can hit it right with a expansion chamber just to slow it down, which this does work. Originally, as I said, I had just a cone on the front there, nothing else, and what I found was it was really powerful right at low end, full throttle in the wood. You couldn't really stall it. It was difficult to stall, but there was no revs on it, you know. It was really slow revving because the sonic cone was just throwing that fuel back in, slowing the exhaust gases so much. It was holding all the fuel in the cylinder, but it wasn't allowing any decent flow. The standard, so this is my exhaust sonic cone. This is an outlet pipe. So the standard one, which I've got here, basically just looks like that. It's just flat here, and you've still got the 2 outlet ports, but it's just flat. So I was a bit disappointed when I first put the cone on and realised what I'd done. I'd really just slowed the whole thing down. So I started thinking about it, and what I did, I bored a hole into the end of the sonic cone here, and the hole was directly in line with the exhaust port. And then originally I just put a piece of pipe, which I've got a piece here, just an ordinary piece of steel pipe. I'm not sure what, I've not measured the diameter of this, it just looked right to me. So I cut a piece of that and I inserted it originally just inside the through the sonic cone, and it went inside by about that much where my thumb is, which was about 3/4 of an inch away from the exhaust port. And luckily that hit it. I think really if you had issues, you could lengthen or shorten the distance between your exhaust port and your outlet tube. Experiment with it if you wanted to, but trust me, this one, about an inch, 3/4 of an inch, something like that, away from the exhaust port, seemed to hit it. It's really powerful now, this saw. But the only thing I did notice was the amount of noise, because originally it was just, this pipe here wasn't on, it was just straight out here, straight out through the end of the sonic cone, and it was really noisy. So I decided to put a curved piece of pipe on, which I've done, and there's the outlet. So I put a curved piece of pipe on, so it aims it away from the wood a little bit. It does quieten it slightly. It's still noisy, but it does quieten it slightly. Now when I first put this on, this outlet pipe, I made it a little bit longer, and I lost a little bit of power, I'll be honest. So today I've just had a look at it now, and I've actually shortened this now. It was about an inch longer than this. It was about to here, but also I found inside where I'd welded the piece of pipe, different pieces of pipe together to make this curve, there was quite a few burrs inside there. So what I did, I used a die grinder. So I cut the end of this off. I went inside there with my die grinder and made it all lovely and smooth. And then I've just been out now, set it up, and it's, trust me, this saw now is, I'd say, pretty close to the Stihl MS362 that I've got. Now the Stihl MS362 is rated at, because it's a MS362C, it's rated at 4.8 brake horsepower, whereas the CS580 is only 3.4 rated. Well, this one now, trust me, it really is just like the MS362C. It just feels the same. But the thing I like about it more than anything is that this CS580, it's really lightweight. You know, it's not, they're not the quality of the Stihl, I know that, but they're really cheap, and they're cheap for parts. But I like it so much because it is really light. Whereas the only thing with, that's one thing with the Stihl, it's a lot heavier than the CS580. Even though now I've got this one now to produce pretty much the same power. Yeah, so yeah, I'm really happy with it. I hope people might be a bit interested in what I've just told you. Maybe I might do another video one day, I don't know. Eventually I'll probably, because this one's been so successful, I'll probably be tuning up the other CS580 that I've got. Eventually when I do the crank bearings on my still, the MS362, I'll probably delete the base gasket on that one. I might port it a bit, just see if it makes a difference. I don't know whether I'm going to put expansion chamber on or not. Maybe not, because you know that one's worked really well. It's just the noise, that's the only thing. So yeah, thanks for watching anyway.